Well, hello and welcome to the Well Health Show. I'm Dr. Ben. So glad to have you. Today's episode is the 5 things that I work into my everyday life to combat stress in 2025. Hello and welcome to the Dr. Ben Live podcast. This is the #1 natural health podcast on the internet. I'm Dr. Ben, founder of a multi-site, Jesus-loving wellness company called Well Health Chiropractic. My mission is simple: to help you and your family build a legacy of great health using the normal function of the body that God already gave you. So if you're ready for straight talk, practical steps, and a fresh perspective on health, you're in the right place. I'm Dr. Ben. Let's get started. Let's start right off the bat. #1 was with my morning routine workout. Listen, I am not a functioning human when I don't get my workout in. Now, just so we're clear, I work out 5 days a week. And that looks like, for me, I go to the gym usually Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I go for a run. This is actually an example of me running with my dog. It seems to be like a nice stress time, or de-stress time, I should say. Oftentimes on my runs, it's just me. It's just, open, fresh, clean, crisp air. And it's a time that I get to connect with the Lord. It's a time that my brain gets to move. But it is super important when it comes to stress. So let's talk about the physiology of why do you need to do a morning routine. Well, #1, I recommend getting up early and getting it done without your kids. Some of y'all without your spouses, but for most of us, at least without the kids. So you can just get up and you can get connected to your creator. Now, physiologically, research shows that the #1 thing to stimulate dopamine, which is an antidepressant, really the thing, I shouldn't say antidepressant. A dopamine is a happy thing. It's like what you're supposed to have. It's not antidepressant. It's just like a happy hormone. Is the #1 thing to produce it is physical exercise. So going for a run, going to the gym, it physically is like taking an antidepressant medication, and that is really going to combat what stress is coming at you. And we're, by the way, I'm just going to skip to #4 here in a second, which is going to be decompressing your day. And I believe that that is so important. We're going to get there in a minute. But on your early morning workout, that's also a decompression time for me. For a lot of years, I did CrossFit. I'll probably get back into it eventually here. But CrossFit, and it was a lot of fun. I noticed that a lot of people around me would get hurt doing CrossFit. They're like, doing these Olympic lifts and whatever. And I'd come in, and there'd be days where it'd be really heavy. And I just go super light for whatever reason. I just wasn't feeling it. And I just have to make the people around me laugh. I said, remember when I woke up this morning, I realized I'm a chiropractor. I'm not a professional weightlifter or CrossFitter or athlete. I'm here as a chiropractor. My #1 job to go to the gym is for my brain. The secondary effect is for my body. Does that make sense? So the #1 thing you do is your morning routine, and I absolutely do. The second thing that I absolutely do not miss on my day is my Jesus and coffee time. Man, I love this part of the day. This is why I love getting up early. And I say this, I like this time by myself, but now that my kids are getting older, we actually have a good time. Oftentimes I'll be reading my Bible, and they come on down, and they'll sit on my lap, and we'll read the story. Actually, one thing that's super fun, you all got to figure this out. On your YouVersion Bible app, we did this morning. It's a pretty good time. There's actually a version of the Bible called Hawaiian Pigeon. It is awesome. And my boys, my oldest and I were just cracking up. He's 11. He thought this was pretty funny. So Hawaiian Pigeon, this is true. I'm not making this up. It sounds like Ebonics, right? It sounds like you're talking from like the hood, but it's actually like literally Hawaii. There's a language called Hawaiian Pigeon, and you can look it up. It's called HPB version. It's hilarious. Anyways, and it's super funny so I'll just read John chapter 3. So normally you got John 3:16. Well, John chapter 3, this is Nicodemus. By the way, if you don't know this about John 3:16, that's actually Jesus, talking to a man named Nicodemus, who is a Pharisee, and he was a religious leader, and he had some real questions. And this actually, John 3:16 was happened at night. We call it the fireside chats with Jesus. And he was talking. But when you read it in Hawaiian Pigeon, you're going to crack right up. So watch this. This is going to be, John chapter 3, verse 1. Had one Pharisee guy named Nicodemus, and he one leader for the Jew guys. One night he go by Jesus and tell him, "Teacher," this is Nicodemus talking to Jesus, "Teacher, us guys know that you one teacher that come from God, because nobody can show us the kind of awesome stuff you do if God no stay with him." And this is my favorite part. Jesus tell him, that's right. And I tell you this too. Whoever not bone one more time, God knew way, they no go and get God for the king. Right? Just so I split that over, by the way. This just cracks me up. Now let's switch it back over to New International Version. What I just read was, now there was a Pharisee, a man named Nicodemus, who was a member of a Jewish ruling council. He came to Jesus at night and said, Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher who has come from God, for no one could perform the signs you are doing if God were not with them. And Jesus replied, very truly I tell you, no one can see the kingdom of God unless they are born again. And then Nicodemus asked, how can someone be born when they are old? Nicodemus asked, surely they cannot enter a second time into their mother's womb to be born. And then Jesus answered, very truly I tell you, no one can enter the kingdom of God unless they are born of water and the Spirit. Okay, time out a second. That's what we just read. Well, let's cut to the second verse. So Nicodemus tell him, how one old guy can get born one more time? No way he can go inside his mother one more time to get born. Jesus tell him, that's right. And I tell you this too. Whoever not born one more time from water, not water, water, and from God's Spirit, they no can get God for their king. Anyway, super funny. That was an aside. I appreciate that. If y'all read your Bible, it's hilarious. Read that in your Bible study, by the way. You'll crack everybody up. It's just a fun way. Listen, I believe, by the way, truly, if you're like, man, that's sacrilegious, I don't think that. Man, I think God's got a great sense of humor. He loves you. He loves us. Anyways, I think we're on point number 2, talking about morning coffee and Jesus. So let's get back to that. That is why you de-stress your day. Listen, I put the Lord into my life because the Lord's going to tell me, listen, even if the sparrows don't have to worry about, where their next meal comes from, how much more infinitely does God care about you and me? And that's something that can de-stress you in your life. Get some good coffee. I'll do an episode on healthy coffee one of these days. And but that's what my routine looks like in the morning. Third thing I'm going to do is I do a smoothie in the morning. I've probably done a smoothie 4 to 5 days a week for like 20 years. That changed my life. And really how it changed my life is it put the right fat and protein into my body right up front. It is the easiest way to start your day. Now, some people say, well, I don't eat anything for breakfast. I don't recommend that for most people. Now, if you've had your genetic testing done and your body really does well with intermittent fasting, that might be something that you'd at least, scoot your day through before you get into food. However, for most of us, a good healthy breakfast that starts with good fat and protein, that is going to be the morning smoothie that I do. We've got if you don't know this, we have fooduniversity.tv. It is a free resource for you. And in there, I talk about exactly how to make the smoothie. As a matter of fact, we'll probably link a clip to that here at the bottom so that you can jump in. Make sure, by the way, if you're watching this, to like and subscribe if you're liking what you're hearing. And because we're trying to spread the amazing news of health and hope and healing, that's the purpose of our podcast, to you at home. Now, the fourth thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about decompress my brain time. Number 1 is going to be my morning workout, which is going to stimulate dopamine in my brain. Number 2 is going to be Jesus and coffee, which is going to help actually recenter my thoughts so that way I have a good attitude going into the day, as well as we're going to have a nice refresh and a restart to my day. And then number 3 is going to be a healthy breakfast. I do a smoothie. If you don't have time for that smoothie, real quick off the bat, you could do eggs and avocado. Just do eggs and avocado. You got a great healthy breakfast in the morning. Just watch out for the bread because that's going to spike your sugar. Again, we do, there's like a 5-ingredient sourdough or 3-ingredient sourdough that we do every now and again with some good whole butter on there. Again, we're looking good fat, good protein. Yes, eggs are great for you. The cholesterol myth has been busted. You want to eat the yolk. You also want to eat the whites. It's all good for you. You don't have to worry about that. It says scientific research, not just me. All right. The fourth thing is we're going to decompress my brain time. This is my favorite part of the day, in case you do this in your life. And this is something that actually I learned from my grandmother at 95 years old in the nursing home. how important it is and vital it is to decompress your brain in 2025. My wife and I, we do this a lot. We don't always drink wine. We're not afraid to have a glass of wine every now and again. But this is here's a few examples of our back porch. At night, we have some land, and we'll sit out there. We'll drink a glass of wine. We watch the kids. We've got chickens and a cat and a dog. Like, we just have like a whole farm out there, it feels like, and more to come, by the way. But we just sit out there, and that's our time, 20, 30 minutes. We try to do it every day. It doesn't always work that way. Last night we had a football game late. I'm the head coach of our flag football team, and we didn't have time to do our decompress time. And quite frankly, we kind of just did it a little bit later. But I would say 99% of the time, we'll do every day some sort of a 20 to 30 minute decompress time. Whether we do that with your spouse, whether you do it by yourself, it doesn't matter. Screen's got to be off, TV's got to be off, and you have to have time to process your brain. So I learned this from my 95-year-old dementia grandma, and I realized just how valuable it is. You know, we get moving so fast that we don't have an opportunity to really feel what we did for the day, to think about what we did for today, because we're so stuck in 2025 of shoving entertainment into our body. I blame this phone mostly. I don't know if y'all are like anybody in our family ever, but we'll have the TV on. Sometimes the TV is on, and we'll also have the phone up, like a TV. And if like the TV is not good enough, we gotta be like triple entertained here. Like, it's just wild. Like, our brains can't process that. And yeah, we can do it for a short amount of time. What we wind up doing is getting what's called a dopamine addiction, because all the stimulation fires dopamine, and then your body can't replenish it, and then you wind up crashing. And what that crash looks like is depression, anxiety, chronic disease, thyroid disorder, chronic fatigue, chronic pain disorders like fibromyalgia. That's because your body has run out of chemicals. So how you can restore those chemicals is this time that's clinically proven, by the way. It's a decompressed time. And again, when I look at my grandma, imagine, so look at, it's interesting. When you're earlier in your life, you don't stop, right? So if you look at a 2-year-old, 2-year-olds don't stop. If you're anything like our kids or your kids are, or grandkids, they like will fall asleep in mid-stride and like skid to a stop. Like they're go, go, go until they're not. You know, and most people can experience that with their 2-year-olds. Well, it's interesting, the older you get, the more time you need to process your life. And then when you look at somebody who's a grandma or grandpa, you know, you'll see them, and what do they want to do is they want to grab a cup of coffee. It's so funny, I mean, I don't drink coffee during the day, but you know, they'll drink coffee, like a pot of coffee throughout the day or 2 pots, and they just want to sit and stare. You know, sit and stare. And I didn't get it. You know, in my 20s, I'm really aggressive towards business and, you know, healthcare and education. Like, that's what I do. And I was just go, 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 go all the time. I have time to sit. But now I'm 43, and I understand and appreciate and understand that it's a part of natural development that you have to put in your body. Yes, we're still developing, even at 43, 53, 63, and beyond, is what we need to do is you need to embrace that time where you're just relaxing and you're processing your day and you're staring out at your backyard at your chickens or whatever. You're just having that time. You know, you can talk with your spouse if you want. Sometimes you just need that time to yourself where you're just staring into oblivion and letting your brain have these different brain waves that slow down and process. That is super important with your body being able to deal with 2025. And I think, if I'm being honest with you, that is the #1 problem with the stress load and the increase in chronic disease in the United States in 2025. And that's because we don't take that time because of the stupid phone. And our kids, it's funny, by the way, your kids, I'm just going to encourage that we're going to have a podcast on this. My kids are 7, 9, and 11 right now. And we have hard rules in our family that our kids will not be getting any phone devices until we think we've decided on 16. And I know some of y'all, you know, one way or the other, with our kids, our oldest, he's got an Apple Watch that he can call no one except for mom and dad. He can text no one except for mom and dad. I take that back. Grandparents, aunts and uncles, mom and dad. That's it. Not cousins. It's just, you know, it's just us, and that's really more of an emergency thing because we do have a mobile world. However, the communication that we use with our kids is, this is death, this is disease, this is horrible. you don't want a phone. The best favor I can give you is to not give you a phone, because once you have this, you're stuck, you're glued, you're imprisoned. This is a shackle. You hate it. So like, and again, I've got a lot of business. You know that. We've got 15 offices. I don't own them all, but we're the brand. We're trying to get to 1,000 clinics, so my phone goes off all the time, and I just ignore it 99% of the time. In the evening time. However, sometimes 5:30, 6 o'clock, when I'm in family time, a text will come in that I got to deal with. I think we all understand that. And it's not that I don't love my kids and my family, but sometimes it happens, right? So I'll hammer out that text, and 100% of the time, I'll take my phone and I'll throw it down on a coffee table or something, so my kids hear me say, I hate this stupid phone. I wish it was never invented like this. I wish I had a flip phone, right? Or I wish I had the phone on the wall. We're saving you guys as long as we can from having this phone. Again, sorry, this is a real big tangent in the middle of our podcast here, but it's important to hear that. That's the language that we use with our kids, because I want my kids to be able to grow up in a generation that at least they understand that they need to have a separation from that phone, and maybe they can teach that to my grandkids, their kids, when they get there. So we have to have a separation from these devices, and we need to understand that this is not ingrained. This is not in our DNA. This is not in our belly. This is not in our spirit. This is not our soul. This is just a phone, and it is a tool, and it can be used for good, but mostly right now, this thing is being used to destroy it. All right, number 5, probably the number one thing that people ask me, by the way, is what supplements do we take to, try that one more time. All right, sorry, shaking the camera. Number 5, the most common question I get is what supplements do we take to help your body combat stress. Number 1 all day long is going to be adaptogen herbs. Me personally, I don't take a whole lot, because that first 4 things we do, that's what I do. And when you do that, you sleep like a baby, generally speaking, and you don't have to have a lot of supplements. However, my favorite one for sleep is called Good Night, and it's adaptogen herbs. What these adaptogen herbs do is they actually suck up your free-ranging catecholamines. Catecholamines are the histamine-style products of stress. So again, when you're having stress on your body, what stress does, cortisol, it affects an adrenaline, it affects all of your body. So fight or flight, or rest and digest. So fight or flight, every single organ in your body has a fight or flight or rest or digest response. That's parasympathetic and sympathetic response. So basically what that means is every organ in your body has the ability to turn the fire up or turn the fire down, depending on what your body needs. For example, the best example is like if you get chased by a bear. Like if you're getting chased by a bear, do you need to worry about digesting your food? No. As a matter of fact, you might be the food, so your body turns off your intestines. If you run away from a bear and you have sympathetic, so fight or flight, your body turns off your intestines. If you're running away from a bear, do you need to have, this is a big one, ladies and gentlemen, do you need to have some sort of a sexual arousal? No. Turn that one off, right? So some people right now that are having sexual arousal issues or having ED for men, like a lot of this is going to be super high stress loads, because your body is just, there's an overabundance of cortisol and stress in your body, adrenaline, sympathetic overload. Your body is so used to being chased by a bear, and it shuts down these non-essential organs. The organs that do get cranked up is your heart. Like your heart rate's going to go up, your eyes will actually dilate, and that's going to be so that if you're running through the woods at night, you don't like run into a tree. Your blood vessels, certain blood vessels will dilate, others will constrict to take blood flow in different areas. Like it's a big deal. So that's going to be your sympathetic and your parasympathetic response, your fight or flight, your rest and digest. So what you can do chemically is there's some supplements you can take that can actually skew you in the side of parasympathetic. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't just really help to understand. Chiropractic, by far, is the number 1 sympathetic parasympathetic reset. It's crazy. So when you get adjusted, boom, you're back in a parasympathetic response. It's a really cool thing to do with chiropractic. A lot of times when people get adjusted in their mid-thoracic spine, they'll start sweating, which is interesting, and then their body calms down. Their nervous system relaxes and re-regulates. And what we're finding is that adaptogen herbs are also something that allow your body to snap back into parasympathetic, rest and digest. Because as Americans, we are in fight or flight more than any culture, any country, any time in the history of the world, which is crazy. And that is something that's causing infertility in our women, because you can't, listen, if you're running away from a bear, your body is going to shut off fertility. So if you or somebody you love or know is having a hard time getting pregnant, the number one thing you can do is decrease stress. And we know that. People, oh, when I was trying to have a baby, once I finally gave up on that, that's when I got pregnant. Exactly. Now, again, there's also other things you can do. Like you need to combat stress, by actually doing something about your stress. And then chemically you can do some stuff, and that's gonna be your adaptogen herbs. Now, there's another thing that is really important with stress is getting your genetic testing. So if you're watching this, you're like, what are you talking about, Dr. Ben? Well, we do very specific genetic testing in our office. It's called MaxGen Labs. And you can get it through us. We have a link in here that you can come find us at one of our offices. And the test is actually relatively inexpensive. I think it's $380. Best part is one time for the rest of your life. And what that genetic testing is going to do is going to let you know, again, not the genes of like, oh man, am I going to get Parkinson's? Am I going to have breast cancer? Like, I don't know that that's really a thing. However, what this tells us is what nutrients in your body, how's your body able to break down food? How's your body able to break down vitamins? So very specifically, there's one called the MTHFR gene, methyl tetrahydrofolate reductase. And what that is if you have your genetics show that you have a defect in this gene, then your body will produce less of the enzyme to break down B vitamins. Your body needs B vitamins to combat stress. Your B vitamins are the number one things that are going to help produce serotonin, dopamine, and glutathione, which is a major detox agent. And when you have an MTHFR mutation, your body can't handle stress as well as somebody else. If you know that, the best thing you can do is take supplements to combat stress. My wife has a triple mutation on this gene, like a defect in this gene. And again, God will, there's probably a reason, in her genetics 1,500 years ago when this, genetic mutation happened, it was probably an advantage for something. But in 2025, it's a strict disadvantage because we run with so much stress. Because of that, every morning we set out some supplements, which are going to be very specific methylated B vitamins that she takes that allows her brain to work like it's supposed to. All right. So, and again, that's something that you can take. Our MaxGen test, you're going to see the link in the description, how you can get connected with that. And that might just be having to come into our office for now. We're trying to set up an online portal for that. We don't have that today. Worst case scenario, you come get that test at the office and we can do the results even if you're not a patient. We do that on a Zoom call, something like that. No problem. Anyways, I say all that to say, those are the supplements I like. Start with adaptogens. Go to genetic testing to see. Those are your two biggest supplements that you can do. There's one, again, we call it Sleep Well. It's a vitamin that we actually label. And it basically has a little bit of melatonin in it with our adaptogen herbs. And super important. So those are the 5 things. Again, let's hit them one more time. We need to have our morning workout routine. You got to do that. Even if you just get up, you do a few push-ups, maybe you just walk around the house a little bit, do a few jumping jacks. Got to get your heart rate up a little bit. After your workout, then we're going to go straight into some sort of a Jesus and coffee time. That can be a time of meditation. That can be a time with you and the Lord is great. Or it's just a time for you to sit and stare. That's fine too. If Jesus isn't for you, that's okay. We can still be friends. The third thing, of course, is going to be doing some sort of a healthy breakfast. You got to have that. You got to set your day. That's the easiest place to make your wins for helping to decrease your stress loads, because if you start with an anti-inflammatory day, then your stress isn't going to affect you the same. The fourth thing is going to be decompressing at the end of the day, making sure you get 20 to 30 minutes to let your brain wind down. And again, I'm not talking about watching TV. I'm talking about sitting and staring in space. I'm talking about sipping a glass of wine with your wife, or just relaxing outside with a glass of ice water. It doesn't really matter, that you can just take that time to reflect. And then the fifth thing, of course, is some of those adaptogen style herbs or genetic testing with some B vitamins. All right, that'll wrap it up for this week's episode of the Well Health Show. I'm Dr. Ben. We'll catch you next week.